I first want to say, boy, I wish I had that crowd every night, because they were just fantastic, and the energy in the building, and they gave us a chance to get back in the game and take control of the game because the energy was so good. And unfortunately, I've talked to people about this a lot, this team has come a long way from being picked last in the conference to where we are right now. We've grown immensely. Unfortunately, we still have more growing to do. Kansas State is a veteran basketball team. They've lost one guy off of a starting group, and as much as we took control coming down the stretch, that veteran team just grinded out the game. And there's probably 10 plays in the last 3 minutes of the game that could have closed the game out for us. We made 2 of them. They made 8 of them. A lot of them have to do with toughness, mental toughness, physical toughness. Free throws by Drake, free throws by Malachi. There were some rebounds there to be had, just plays to be made where we didn't make them to close the game out. And that's the part of the game we still need to grow in. And sometimes you can't speed up the experience piece, but we've come a long way. We got a lot more growth potential in us, and it's a good game for us to play just to close out the preseason here at home on Friday to get ready for conference play. Because that's a Pac-12 team there. That's what it's going to be like, the toughness, the physical, the mental, the pressure, the energy, pressure shots, pressure defense, all of that stuff. So we handled ourselves well to get back in the game. We just weren't there to close it out. That veteran team did a better job of closing it out.
Ernie, more of an offensive problem or a defensive problem? We're getting a lot of stops in the last 5 minutes or so.
You know, I always say with us, it has nothing to do with our talent, but it has to do with the mental and the physical toughness of making a play, whether it's on the offensive end or the defensive end. And usually with juniors and seniors or guys who have played a lot of games, they have that mental capability to grind you and do it. Kind of like us older guys doing our jobs, we can grind through and do them. We look at those young guys and wonder why they can't get up in the morning. It's kind of like that. Them older guys out on that floor just grinding it out. So it was probably a little bit of both, you know, where Robo had some opportunities to do some things, didn't get it done on the offensive end. There were some plays to be made on the defensive end. We didn't get them done there either. So parts of the game we were great mentally to get back in it and take control. They just closed it out and we didn't.
Coach, like you said, your team's made leap and bounds this season. Is it these types of games that build up that mental capability to close it out, and how close do you think they are to figuring out at the end?
Well, it's the season in itself. This game, like the UTEP game, are kind of microcosms of your season. You're almost playing a season within the game. You have some adversity, you learn about yourself, you fight through it, you come back, you toughen up, you take a lead, you're gritty, you're tough, you lose a lead, and that's like a season. You win a game, you're on 6-0, you lose 3 in a row, you come back. They're all. So over the course of a year, teams do grow. And all of my teams, I think there's been one team in my 30 years that didn't come over the course of a year. They just didn't come together, and that was the year 2 here when we lost 17. I feel like that team really never figured it out. This team will figure it out. They've already figured a lot of things out, and they will continue to come forward. So these games are great. I call them, again, not losing, learning, because they learn a lot about themselves, that their talent is good enough. It's just the mental physical toughness to keep control of a game and close out a game, particularly with competition at that level.
And then Robert Franks in the first half, it seemed like there was a couple of instances where you might have been frustrated with Robo and pulled him out.
I don't know if frustrated is the word. I mean, this is a team where Robo needs for me to challenge him and wants me to do that, where he wants to go with his basketball and everything else, and there's times in the game he needs to be challenged. No different than Malachi at times, Drake at times. So I don't know if frustration is the word as it is. Give them an opportunity to sit down and think about it and have a conversation with them, getting back out there.
Malachi kind of has a knack for making those long three-pointers with kind of a hand in his face. Were you okay with that shot down 64-3?
No, you know, you had a timeout left. You take the timeout, they change their defenses, they do something, so you want to play the clock. You're at home, you got your crowd and all that stuff. I wish you would have come off the ball screen and got a cleaner look at it, where instead of just pulling it and had that defender kind of playing tag with him a little bit too much. He was pretty good when he forced him to switch and get the big guy on him and everything. So he's such a competitor and wanted to hit the shot. Unfortunately, it didn't go down.
You were grasping for something to get you going in the first half. You found it.
We found him before. Unfortunately, we could have found him a little bit more. And that's the thing we talked about at halftime. Here's a guy that's on his game, in a great rhythm, rose up to the moment, whatever you want to call it. And yet there were probably 3 or 4 more times we could have got him the ball and bypassed him and put it on the floor instead. So Carter is, here's a guy that nobody recruited at the Division I level. Think about that. And everybody talks about big-time recruits and everything. He goes to a prep school, then to a JC, and then we get him on the rebound because Coach Seltzer and Loyola looked at him and didn't think he was good enough for Loyola. I tease him about that often. And he comes into our gym, and he's a 6'5", lights-out, pure shooter that's sneaky athletic, that loves to play. He's a throwback to the old school, Indiana kid. Dad's a coach. The ingredients to why he's going to be successful are just blowing out of him. It's like, why would you not? Because he doesn't have the hype and all that stuff. So he's perfect for what we want. To put him in a ball game, he's instant offense. He's a little bit ahead of Quentin Henson. When those 2 guys figure it out, they're going to be really good. They can really make us better as we hit conference.
Coach, the beginning of the first half was night and day to the beginning of the second half. What do you think allowed you guys to get into more of a rhythm to start the second?
Adjustments. You've seen us do that against Texas Southern, being down 20. St. Joseph, being down 20. You go in the locker room, you make adjustments. You see things out on the floor, you calm your team down, you talk to them and tell them, here's what we need to do. And they're very good at listening to us. And to their credit, they came out of the second half. They were better defensively. We went away from all the zones and things and played man-to-man straight up. We went under ball screens. That was an adjustment, which gave the pick and roll, took it off the table for them. The pick and pop, it took it off the table, and it made it tougher. Once we were able to get some stops, it got us into our rhythm offensively, and we were able to get down the floor faster. Their defense is so good, you need to speed down the floor and keep them off balance. So our defense is really what triggered the offense, and that came from the adjustments we made at halftime.
Carter kind of did in the right of ways today as opposed to earlier in the area. It was mostly threes when he had his first eruption. He was driving to the rim. Is he expanding his game more, do you think?
That's always been in his game. I think with Carter, like Quentin, they're getting more confident, and they know they have the green light to getting more comfortable. If you'd have saw him a couple days ago, he was kind of all over the place, and yet he loves playing in the moment. So this was a great opportunity for him to grow in front of these fans, if these fans to fall in love with him. Because we have that guy that nobody recruited. We have him for 3 years. He's going to be a really good player for us.
Coach, I know this wasn't the result you wanted, but how do you feel about your team 11 games through the season, this young team and what you've seen?
Well, it's kind of like parenting. At the end of the day, you got to love them and tuck them into bed. So I feel pretty good about them at the end of the day.